Today, we're going to do something pretty remarkable. We're going to go inside the mind of Siddhartha Gautama before he became the Buddha and see the exact experiment he ran on himself. Why? To solve a problem that every single one of us deals with, a mind that's just all over the place. So let's get into it. And it all started with this one question. Seriously, it wasn't some grand prophecy. It was just a guy, a really dedicated seeker, who decided to approach his own mind like a scientist. He asked himself, what if I just sorted my thoughts? This simple question, this little experiment, became the bedrock for one of the most powerful mental training systems ever. So this first part is all about that central challenge, right? How do you take that wild, chaotic energy of your own mind and actually bring it into focus? How do you tame the inner zoo? And the really cool thing here is that this wasn't some doctrine that was handed down from the heavens. The entire path to enlightenment began as a personal, hands-on investigation. He was the test subject, he was the laboratory, and he was the scientist, all rolled into one. Okay, so what was step one in his big experiment? Well, he had to stop seeing his mind as this big, messy soup of random thoughts. Instead, he came up with a really simple but really powerful sorting system. And this was the system. It's so elegant. On one side, you've got the unskillful class. You can think of these as thoughts that come from craving, wanting stuff, from ill will, from wanting to cause harm. Then on the other side, you have the skillful class. These are thoughts about letting go, about genuine kindness, about compassion. And here's the key. Unskillful doesn't mean you're evil. It just means these kinds of thoughts don't get you the result you want. They don't lead to peace. So why are these thoughts such a big deal? He was super clear about the consequences. He noticed that every single time these unskillful thoughts popped up, they had very specific, very negative results. They hurt him, they hurt other people, they totally clouded his judgment, and most importantly, they kept his mind trapped in this endless loop of stress and feeling unsatisfied. All right, so he's identified the two kinds of thoughts. What now? How did he actually work with them? Well, that's what he figured out next. A practical, step-by-step method for actually taming the mind. The method itself is just beautiful and so direct. First, a harmful thought comes up and you just notice it. There's a thought of malice. No judgment, just seeing it for what it is. Second, you reflect on the downside. I know where this leads. This leads to stress, this blocks wisdom. And then, here's the magic. Once he really saw the thought for what it was, as a source of pain, it just lost its grip. It just faded away. He didn't have to fight it. Seeing its true nature was enough to make it wither on its own. To explain this whole process, the Buddha used this brilliant simile. He said that in the beginning, trying to manage your mind feels an awful lot like being a very, very busy cowherd. This just captures that initial effort perfectly, doesn't it? Our thoughts are the cattle, and they are always trying to wander off into the fields of anger or greed. The crops, that's our well-being. So at first, you have to be vigilant. You're constantly poking and prodding your thoughts, guiding them back to the safe path. Because you can see the disaster, the suffering that happens if you just let them run wild. But, and this is the best part, that intense effort isn't forever. As you keep practicing, something amazing starts to happen. The whole dynamic shifts, and you become much more like a relaxed cowherd. See, once you've tamed those unskillful thoughts, once the crops are harvested, you don't have to poke and prod all the time. The skillful thoughts, the ones about goodwill and kindness, they start to become your mind's natural resting place. And at that point, the practice is less about fighting and more about just being mindful, just knowing that those good thoughts are there. The struggle gives way to ease. But then he discovered something else, and this is a really crucial insight. He realized that even thinking good thoughts, if you do it for too long, becomes work. All that constant thinking and considering, no matter how positive, it actually tires out the body and stresses the mind. And a stressed mind, he realized, is a million miles away from the deep, peaceful state he was looking for, that state of total immersion. So the final step had to be to quiet the mind completely. And this is where the practice leads to the ultimate payoff. A breakthrough that would literally change the course of human history. With his mind now calm, pliable, and unified, he could drop into these incredibly deep states of meditation, these absorptions. First came this joyful energy, this rapture just from being in seclusion. Then, as he went deeper, that joy ripened into this profound, calm bliss. Then even the bliss fell away, leaving behind this state of perfect balance, or equanimity. And finally, he reached this place of utterly pure, unshakable peace. It was only from this silent, powerful stillness that real insight could finally break through.
So from this incredible depth and quiet, true wisdom finally started to dawn. During the first watch of the night, the first knowledge arose. He could remember his past lives in detail. And this wasn't just some hazy memory. He was seeing firsthand the massive chain of cause and effect that led him to that exact moment. Then, in the middle part of the night, his vision just expanded. He saw the universal law of karma playing out everywhere, for all beings, how our actions, our intentions, literally shape our reality. He saw the entire web of existence, all woven from the threads of our own choices.
And then, just as dawn was about to break, it happened. The ultimate breakthrough. He saw right to the very heart of reality. He understood suffering, what causes it, that it could end, and the exact path to end it. And in that instant, the deepest roots of greed and ignorance were just gone. His mind was completely and utterly free. The experiment was over. Siddhartha Gautama was gone. The Buddha, the awakened one, remained. But this incredible personal victory, this wasn't the end of the story. The really crucial thing is what he did next. He didn't just hang on to this freedom for himself. He decided he had to share it, and he used another beautiful simile to explain his new job. He saw all of us as a herd of deer, kind of lost in the marshland of chasing pleasure. And a harmful force, delusion, or Mara, had laid out this wrong path that only leads to disaster. So the Buddha, the helper, he did two things. He blocked off that dangerous path, and then he opened up the safe path, the noble eightfold path, so that everyone could find their way to safety and to real happiness.
And he ends the whole teaching with this direct, timeless instruction. He basically points to the world around his followers and says, practice this, don't slack off. This is my instruction to you. It's not just a story from long ago, it's an invitation that rings just as true today. He's saying, look, I ran the experiment, I cleared the path, the tools are right here. Now, what are you going to do with them?